I'm Sarah Starr here with your space weather update for March the 30th. The sun just released an X1.5 solar flare from active region 4405, plus a full moon on top of this is going to amplify everything. Here's what's actually happening. It came from our active region 4405. This is the strength of an X1.5 solar flare, so it's the highest intensity category at class X. It's located here on the southern hemisphere of the sun, and we are going to see some Earth-directed components due to this, but the bulk of the plasma is going to be ejected away from Earth. But we're still going to see an impact. And we do have a plethora of other sunspot regions on our sun, but these are pretty much all stable or in a state of decay, except for this one. It produced a strong R3 radio blackout, so that means there is a significant energy release. Also associated with that strong radio burst was the velocity behind that solar flare. Normal solar wind speed is around 300 to 400 kilometers per second, so this is extreme velocity. There's also a fast CME associated with this, estimated around 1,870 plus kilometers per second. A solar flare does not automatically hit Earth. A CME only affects us if it is Earth-directed, but right now the direction's still kind of being confirmed by the SOHO spacecraft imagery. It does look like there are Earth-directed components, so 24 to 48 hours is the arrival time for a very fast CME. The arrival time looks to be between 1 to 2 days, especially because it's a very fast-moving CME, so this could trigger those moderate to strong geomagnetic storms. Solar wind speeds have already been elevated for the past couple of days because we already had some smaller CME arrivals. So we're around 446 kilometers per second. We're expected to get into 500 to 700 kilometer per second ranges. So Earth's magnetic field is already under pressure from earlier activity. This seems to be stacking energy and not a single event. Earth's magnetic field is already under a lot of pressure from earlier activity. So this looks like more of a stacking energy, not a single event. As you can see, that big bulk of the plasma is headed a little bit south of the Earth-Sun line. So if we take a look at our graph here, as you can see, we do have some extreme density. However, it's going to be passing by. We're going to be getting a glancing blow from the density, although there may be a density wall that's going to breach first. And then we're going to be hit with the velocity. But as you can see, it's not the intense velocity, it's going to be a glancing blow. This is all going to come around April the 1st, full moon time, just in time to push in the solar wind codes into you. So this plasma is really going to help elevate everybody into the next level, the next chapter. And as you can see, it's going to dip down afterwards, but we're still going to be in the elevated solar winds. The density is already going to be gone, but we're going to be looking at the velocity staying for a couple of days. So let's look at our 3-day geomagnetic forecast for the 30th, the 31st, and the 1st. This is going to be updated, I'm sure, later today as more of the analytics go on with the data. So right now what we're seeing elevated codes coming in for a G1 minor geomagnetic storm. If you are in a higher latitude, you will probably be able to see a beautiful aurora. But when we go into tomorrow, this is where we're going to see more elevated winds. This is a very fast moving CME. So active to storm level geomagnetic conditions are going to be persistent on the 31st and I believe also on the 1st. Yet again, this graph needs to be updated as more data comes in. It looks like we're going to see a G1, G2, possibly even a strong G3 geomagnetic storm. That's very likely. This could absolutely be a stronger storm than anticipated, especially if that CME does connect precisely. And if our southward magnetic line does dip down into the southern BZ, then we could see a lot stronger of a storm. But higher latitude positions, you'll be able to see an aurora on the 31st and the 1st, and I believe on the 2nd once it finally does dip down. But we're going to be in elevated solar winds, guys. And we also have 3 coronal holes with one kind of forming right down below. So we do have one that is right by that active region, and this is also what's going to be pushing in a lot of that solar wind speed a lot faster. We do have another one here on the southern hemisphere, and it looks like another one that's forming also in the southern hemisphere. So these can polar tether themselves to Earth, and then it creates a direct line for all of that plasma to flow into Earth. So yet again, this could be a stronger geomagnetic storm than anticipated. Let's take a look at that active region 4405 that unleashed that X1.5 solar flare. Now it's in beta and gamma range, and although it has only 8 sunspots, it's actually really small in size and it's dipping down. So it's a very surprise moment for us. If we do look at our flare probabilities, C-class flare, we've been getting them from there. M-class flares is at a 20%, X-class flare a smaller percent as well, but the proton level is there too. So if we do get another X-class flare or larger M-class flare that pops off with higher proton levels, then we can see geomagnetic storms and solar radiation storms on top of the likely chance of having more radio blackouts. So it's like stacked energy, like I said. But wait, there's more, because we're gonna layer this with what is happening in the sky as well. So we're gonna go into our astrology. Let's talk about tropical Western astrology first. The full moon is going to be in Libra. Full moons play a big part on titles and also you, specifically you physically. So the themes that we're gonna be seeing surrounding this energy coming in is going to be relationships, it's going to be emotional truth. There's going to be some imbalance that's going to be exposed. Not a bad thing, but let's talk about the Vedic later that is on top of it. So this is sidereal astrology. The moon is going to be in Virgo in sidereal. So what this means is that physically you're going to feel these nervous system sensitivities, and it doesn't help if a G3 geomagnetic storm is stacked right on top of it. So if you're already sensitive, you're going to be even more sensitive with full moons switching over. So it looks like there's going to be detoxing, there's going to be clearing, there's going to be mental overload that's going to be happening, but it's going to form into some clarity. Other alignments happening, we have the sun still in Aries. This is going to be the pressure to act, to move, to decide. There are no major retrogrades, thank God. So this is like Earth energy. This is just energy that is going to be very direct and forward moving no matter what. During heightened times of energy fluctuation, the conditions that you're going to be seeing are going to range from mental to physical feelings that you're going to be feeling. So fatigue or burnout, there's going to be head pressure involved, there's going to be anxiety spikes involved, or emotional waves specifically, sleep disruption, there's going to be sudden realizations as well. So this is your nervous system. It is responding to all of the invisible energies that are hitting your body, the geomagnetic fluctuation, the emotional peak from the full moon, plus more. The key is to not spiral, to use this energy strategically. Pause before reacting emotionally. Let things just end naturally. Who cares? Things are going to pick up. Ground your body, ground your energy, water, food, rest, and channel that energy that you have into content or movement or creation of some sort. This is going to be a release, and then there's going to be a recalibration window. Yes, as we move deeper into the solar maximum ending phase, there still are going to be more solar flares. There still are going to be more CMEs that are expected, and then these waves are just going to becoming more frequent. People talk about the solar flash not existing. We've already had 3 extreme geomagnetic storms. I don't know what you call that, but there's another one coming. So if you feel off, you are not imagining it. This is a solar pressure, this is a full moon peak, and it's happening all at the same time. I'm Sarah Starr here with your space weather for March the 30th and the 31st. If you want to know how all of this is hitting in your chart, head over to my website, sarahstarofficial.com, book a natal chart reading or a starseed origin reading with me, and we'll chart the stars together.